This is response to others, number 11. So first I'm going to start with reading project 11, which is connecting Diary of a Madman to Las Medinas. And for the first person, I did Olivia Allen. So something that stuck out to me is that she kind of took it a different direction and said that Diary of a Madman was really about the government eating people and kind of how like the government only does things to benefit itself rather than those who need really the help. And so and then she kind of talked about how in Las Meninas the Infanta Margarita had the most power. It is like the focal point or focus point of the painting. And that she had all the best things. She was like the only living heir at the time. And then I like how she kind of connected that to like how the royals they also ate people, but in the figurative like way, how they only got the best of the best and the richer only got richer kind of. And so yeah, that's kind of how that was meant to be. And then she talks about how both have a sleight of hand. So like how Las Meninas is very difficult to interpret with all its different meanings. So it is sleight of hand because also it's a painting in a painting. And then she talks about how Diary of a Madman, it's really talks about how there's someone going mad and delusional, but really it's about I guess in her way, the government eating people. Or I liked her different interpretations for sure. Though they might have been a little bit different, I did like the way she talked about it. Next is Luc Dupez Miguel. Sorry if I butchered that. But kind of something, the first thing he talks about is how both are ambiguous. And so, or purposely ambiguous. So he talks about how Las Meninas kind of has like a lot of different questions and other different interpretations and meanings, which makes it so ambiguous. Is like you can interpret in different ways because you truly don't know what the main focus is. And then with Diary of a Madman, something that he talks about is that he highlights how it's a Marxist. It's a part of the Marxist archives. So how it's really about capitalism in that time, and how like people eating other people kind of for a wealthy gain, in the sense not that they're actually eating them, but like you can think of it like how in big corporations they'll eat other little corporations. They're eating the smaller of it, kind of like that. And then that was kind of an interesting interpretation. I like that because I definitely could see it, and it kind of related to Olivia too, how like she said the government eating people. So in a way you can see how they will connect. Next, he talked about how both kind of had a historical aspect of it, and Las Meninas obviously is quite historical. I mean, the entire painting is. And he also highlighted how the paintings in the back were also historical. And then the history in Diary of a Madman, he could not quite find it, but the history is like how the dude ate boiled the liver, heart, and things like that, and how that was supposed to be like a historical context in like ancient Chinese times. It's like a Chinese tale or something. But anyways, he talks about how kind of Diary of a Madman, both are critiques about like the upper class. So Diary of a Madman kind of talks about, yes, eating people. So like people eating other people, the rich get richer, poor get poor, kind of like that. And then Las Meninas really critiques against the royal, like trying to kind of show what's really going on with them, but also I remember putting everybody on the same playing field, like on the same level as the royals, was kind of like a critique because Velasquez wanted to be on the same level as a noble always until he kind of, that was like a subtle way of making himself equal to them or on the same level as them. But I did like his interpretation for sure a lot. So next was Las Meninas, Project 11, groupings or paintings, and Grant Allen. He said that the paintings were more important, which I kind of agreed with that. But both, technically, I did like both aspects. And then he said it was more compelling to him. He kind of focuses on how the paintings was to speak about how art / painting is a divine form of art and on the same level as poetry and music, which I kind of liked, especially that I also like art, like painting a lot. So I did like that. He was talking about that. And next, Caleb Bush, he finds the groupings more compelling, which I could understand because it also highlights how the Infanta has no pair. And so that backs the theory that she is the focus point of the painting. So I could see how one could find that more compelling. But he talks more about the geometry behind the painting and finds that more compelling. But overall, I like both of their interpretations because they were different. So I got to see someone who I was more with, and also I didn't necessarily, and someone I also did not necessarily agree with, but saw a different view of. But yeah, that's response to others.